Hello, darlings. Thank you for tuning in to Living Out Loud with Loretta, the podcast. I'm your host, Loretta Nkwacha. Now, like many of you, I'm a parent, I have friends, a life partner, I work in my home, I work outside my home, I have a social life. Well, I try to. It's hard to balance all of this and fit in some me time without feeling guilty. It's hard, but not impossible. Each week, listen to parents from all walks of life as they share their stories of the pursuit of equilibrium, that beautiful thing we call balance. And just for fun, I'll end each episode with something that helps me maintain some balance, a live performance of songs that bring me joy. If you love music too, then that's another thing we have in common. So make a request in the comments below and we can enjoy the song together on a future episode, all while listening and learning what my guests have figured out. A balancing act that works for them so that they can still live their life out loud. Hello, my darlings. Welcome to another episode of Living Out Loud with Loretta. Today, I am wearing my favorite color, which is pink. And I wore it in honor, not just for myself, because it's my favorite color, but in honor of my beautiful, incredibly ambitious CEO and founder of Urban Skin RX. She's doing amazing things out there in the beauty industry. Her products are in Target, CVS, Walmart, Ulta, HSN most recently, and she sells to a bunch of people in Nigeria, which I love. You know, I guess I'm doing a lot of stuff that's connecting me to Nigeria. I don't know what the universe is trying to tell me, but I am open to listening. There are highs, there are lows, which I guess is typical of some of the best life stories. As an entrepreneur, she really is inspiring with her journey and how she got into the beauty industry and the fact that it's been her passion ever since she was a little girl, you know, and certainly something I took away from our chat, aside from a lot of juicy information she gave me about her life, it's affirming the fact that whatever you're going to do, be passionate about it, you know, especially if you're going to go into the field of being an entrepreneur. Have passion for whatever it is that you're doing, because it's not an easy road. It really isn't. And when you do finally reach a point where you can look back and go, wow, I actually have some success, it's going to feel all the more sweet because you've just been doing something that you've felt passionate about the whole time, you know? And it's not necessarily about making $1 million, although of course it's very nice when you do, right? Anyway, she's definitely given me a lot of things to think about now that I'm on my entrepreneurial journey. She's wonderful. She is fun. She is beautiful. Yeah, she's definitely someone to keep an eye on. I'm definitely using her products. That goes without saying. And I actually have a little package that arrived for me, so I'm going to take a look at that later on. I'll show you what she sent to me. But Rachel Roff, Urban Skin RX, she started making her own products because she saw that there was a gap in the market when it came to providing for women of all skin colors. So thank you, Rachel. Yes, indeed, I would love to keep using your products and I would love to be an ambassador. Sign me up. Welcome to another episode of Living Out Loud with Loretta. Today, it's another beauty special with a beautiful CEO, founder, licensed aesthetician, mother, soon to be wife, if I'm allowed to say.
Yes.
I am so honored and so happy. I mean, listen, I don't know how I keep convincing fabulous people to come and sit and talk to me, but I'm going to keep on with it. Today, I have the amazing Rachel Roff. She is the founder, CEO of Urban Skin RX. Hello and welcome, Rachel.
Hello, Loretta. I'm so excited to be doing this with you.
I love that you're here. And I know you have just literally rushed back, you said, from your daughter's tennis lesson. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I would normally like to go into, how did you get started, whatever else. But can I just let my audience know that Rachel sort of literally, came back from the lesson, sat down and joined my call, and then was like, oh, oops, okay, let me go and put a face on. Give me 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, I did not realize that it was video recorded, and I think I just got it mixed up with another podcast that I'm doing that was clearly not video recorded. So yes, I was like, give me 5 minutes. You would be surprised what a mother has learned to do with 5 minutes to put her makeup on.
Well, this is what I would like, if we can start with a teaching moment. How on earth did you literally took, I don't even know if it was 10 minutes. You came back, your hair, obviously, I'm guessing, I don't even know whether it's clean or not clean. All I know is that it looks shiny and very sort of tousled and sexy. You came back and you look gorgeous. What did you do in those 10 minutes?
Well, by the grace of God, I actually washed my hair last night. So that was just divine intervention right there. And, in terms of going from no makeup, which I'm actually relatively self-conscious about my skin, I have some skin, concerns that don't always make me feel confident, without makeup on. So I've learned that the IT Cosmetics Illuminating CC Cream provides amazing foundation very quickly. I mix it with my moisturizer, put it on, then a little bit of bronzer, a little bit of NARS blush, some mascara, the Lip Bar brow definer, and then a lip and a headband. A headband is key to just, swoop it back, and, there you go. Oh, some setting powder by Huda. Yep, I got the whole routine down quickly.
You quickly, indeed, and then you threw on a blazer.
Yep, put a blazer on over my t-shirt.
So, okay, this is actually very, okay, hold on, before you drink, hold on, this is the most important part. Forget about teaching. How about, can we drink? It's Friday night.
Yes, thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. Look fabulous too. You might have had a little bit more time, but I've seen a lot of people have a lot of time and still not look as beautiful as you do. So
bless you. I will pay you later. Or I know is now with, as a mother, as a busy mother, I get now 1 day a week to put makeup on. I've been home since, obviously, like most people in New York. And since school started, I'm home remote learning with my children. So I am chained to the kitchen island all day, every day. But Friday at 3 o'clock, I can clock off of my mummy teacher duties, or even earlier sometimes. If I get to interview people earlier, then my husband tends to be home. So he will take over the duties and I will go take a shower, get out of the sweats, and see what clothes fit, you know what I mean? Put my face on, put my hair on, put my lashes on, put my lips on, and I'm happy. Pour a cocktail.
Love it.
You're drinking bubbles. That has been my favorite forever.
I'm actually a Jack Daniels girl. Jack Daniels with a little bit of Diet Pepsi, but I don't have Diet Pepsi, and I wasn't going to sit here and drink Jack Daniels straight because I don't know where the conversation would have gone at that point. So I decided to pour some champagne.
Done. Okay, next time I'm gonna make sure maybe Jack Daniels is for the after show.
Prior to, I actually brought on an investment firm that owns part of my company, and so prior to the investment firm, I would have done the straight Jack Daniels. But now that I got a lot of eyes on me, I got to be careful what I say.
Darling, you and Urban Skin RX, you are now in Target, in CVS, Walmart. You just started with HSN as well. Is that correct?
Yep, and we've been in Ulta nationwide, and we actually have some really exciting stuff. Urban Skin RX actually has two collections. We have just the Urban Skin RX brand, which is sold, Walmart, Target, Ulta, and then we have our Pro Strength Urban Skin RX collection, which is advanced formulas, more expensive, little bit more luxury packaging, and Ulta just picked up that line too. So if anybody listening is familiar with Ulta, there is a mass side of Ulta, and then there's like the luxury skincare side, and we are the first brand to sit on both sides. And the luxury brand launches on Monday at Ulta, so it's very exciting.
You are moving at warp speed. Also, I read that you're now in Nigeria as well. Is that right?
Yes, we launched so we've been selling straight from our website globally, for years now, but we actually are now part of a distributor who distributes us in a lot of different department stores in Nigeria, because we were having a lot of demand, and it's not always the easiest, or it's just not the most seamless process to ship internationally, as well as we end up charging pretty high shipping fees. So we wanted to be more easily accessible to the demand in Nigeria. So it's really exciting.
This is wonderful. My family are from Nigeria, although I was born in London, but my roots are in Nigeria. And I'm like first generation British. So I love that. I'm pretty sure that there are a ton of Nigerian influencers that would be like, hey, Rachel, I would love to promote your stuff because you're amazing.
We love influencers. So I would not be where I am today if it was not for, celebrity and influencer support. So I'm all about some influencers.
And speaking of celebrity, and I am going to circle back and go to the beginning, but speaking of celebrities, you've got people like Tiana Taylor, one of the most hottest humans to ever be created. Fantasia, you got the beautiful Eva the Diva, Eva Marcille, is that right?
Yes, that's one of my girls, yeah.
Tasha Cobbs Leonard, who I listen to like on a weekly basis.
Yeah,
my gosh.
She just texted me this morning. Yeah, no, so these were all, I have a very different story where, I owned a brick and mortar for 14 years, started it in 2006 in Charlotte, never thought I would ever own a skincare brand. My whole passion and goals was just surrounding being an esthetician, servicing my clientele, and possibly one day franchising my medical spa. And so these people were actually my clients. They were my clients at my medical spa. And I'm sorry to get into this already, but
no, this is fantastic.
There's so much more to the story, but very organically and authentically, they would post my products because they love them. And when I get, mentees and people who are looking to get into the beauty industry asking me about how did the brand grow to be so big? And I would say, honestly, I think if it wasn't for my genuine passion just for treating individual people in a treatment room, it wasn't like, oh, I want to own this global skincare brand. It was, I want to improve the lives of each person that walks into my treatment room, lays down on my bed. And so getting my services and my products into their hands, they shared it with the world, and then just demand grew. But it was originally, Urban Skin RX was created for the clients at my med spa.
Okay, so going back to the beginning, this little girl from North Carolina, and I love that accent, by the way.
No, I was, despite the accent, I was raised in Northern California until the age of 20. But mind you, I'm turning 40 this year. So the last 20 years, I have, been living in Charlotte and, adapting to this Southern charm and developing this Southern accent. I'm very Southern at this point, but my family also lives in Northern California.
Wow. So your accent is definitely a Charlotte.
I know, some people just pick it up and some people don't. And actually within about 5 years of living here, my family was like, you are sounding Southern. And just now I'm a full-blown Southern girl.
It's amazing because I feel like it fits you. Like I can't imagine you actually not having that accent.
I
Is that
think I
weird?
was actually slightly Southern before I moved here. Like, I think I was always a little bit of a Southern girl.
Okay. All right. So you grew up in California, which maybe might have been something that actually potentially propelled your desire to be an esthetician or be interested in aesthetics. Because you said, I read all about you, and you grew up as a child, like many children, being bullied for various reasons, and one of them was something that you had on your skin. What was that?
So I developed a nevus mole right here. You can't really see it between. Getting most of it surgically removed during high school, and then wearing a little bit of makeup right now. But yep, I developed this nevus mole and was just tortured by children, always being told, I had chocolate on my face, and I don't know if it was depression or what, but I definitely ate my concerns, my worries away, and ended up really overweight. Then I got acne. So it was just overweight, acne, this huge brown spot on the side of my mouth. And it definitely was just, it was a blessing in disguise because, God doesn't give you more than you can handle. And in the end, so much of the pain that I went through led me to help so many other people. And I think in maybe junior high or high school, my mom started taking me to the dermatologist, esthetician for my acne. And I think definitely living in California, to your point, I don't know if I would be where I am today because California was really ahead of the game with estheticians and med spas. Probably that was 25, 30 years ago. That might have not even been an option at a dermatology office in Charlotte. And so I was like, going there, getting facials, chemical peels, they were doing laser treatments on this area of my mouth because they were scared if they cut it out, it would distort my smile and the way I talk. And I was like, gosh, this is amazing. Like, I would love to get into this, just, one, so I would have my hands on all the tools I needed to make myself feel better about the way I looked, as well as help others. I was a very empathetic person I remember at a young age, giving toys away, giving my allowance away to like poor kids in the neighborhood and just like always wanting to help others. So it was definitely very early on. I clearly knew what I wanted to do with my life by being an esthetician.
It's amazing. So you then graduated college, and then 4 days later you were in, I guess, beauty school. Is that what it would be called? Right.
Yeah. So, I came from a pretty traditional professional family, and they didn't to be an esthetician. They wanted me to be a lawyer, a doctor, and they thought that if I went to college, I would probably drop the goal of being an esthetician and want to achieve something bigger. But, I went to college to appease them, and then, still held on to my dream, and they ended up, supporting it. They told me if I went to college, they would pay for me to go to esthetician school. And so as soon as I was done, I enrolled in esthetician school in Charlotte, and, it was an amazing school that I went to, but I quickly, discovered that there was just a lot of disparities in the aesthetic field as it related to offering effective treatments and education for all skin tones. It was very geared towards just mainly Caucasians and lighter skin tones. And I'm somebody who, I come from a diverse family. I come from a diverse friend group. My best friend I grew up with has melanin-rich skin. And so when I would literally bring my friends in to practice on them, because you have to bring models in to treat them, it was just very clear right away that there was kind of like, don't do this, don't do that. Just do the most basic, gentle thing, because the teacher was scared that we would burn them or hurt them. And I'm like, okay, but, all skin tones have, different issues they suffer from. And just by using a gentle cream cleanser and a soothing face mask is not going to get them the results that they need. We have to be doing corrective things to them. And so it just led me to end up having to really educate myself, pursue ordering dermatology books for skin of color, seeking out advanced education classes in Atlanta. And initially it was just to treat the people I love. But then once I really entered the industry and got my first job, I was like, Charlotte could use a medical spa and laser center that, really welcomed and prided themselves in treating all skin tones, and that we were a place that you could trust that would know how to treat deeper skin tones effectively and safely. And when I opened the doors in 2006 at the age of 24, quickly there was, I was right, there was a huge demand.
This to me it's fascinating, as obviously I'm a woman of color, growing up in England, and I had sort of similar acne issues, but they came late, like, sort of late teens, early 20s or whatever. And I started going and getting facials and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't know like any of my brown girlfriends that were doing similar things. In fact, they all had really good skin, to be honest with you. I was like big pores and very oily and just prone to acne. So I would go and sort of get these skin treatments and everything. But I was very aware that I didn't see other brown women doing these treatments. And I think if any of them were, it might have been just celebrities or famous singers or whatever, So I love the fact that you were very aware from a very early age or early stage in your learning as an esthetician that there's something missing here. There's a whole group of women that are not being catered to with high-end or quality products. Let me see if this is something. It helps, I guess, the fact that you had friends that were like, okay, I'm happy to have you practice on me, but you want to give deep treatments to every single person. Like you say, all of our skin types, we all have different needs and different things that our skins are sort of going through. So I love that you kind of realized there was a gap in the market and you tapped into it right away. So with you then opening up a bricks and mortar place, that was just your spa. You had no intentions of actually creating your own products. You were using other
lots of other great lines, and I always tell people this: Urban Skin RX is not the only great skincare line. It was inspired by so many, formulas that I did sell and use on my patients, but I always felt like it was missing just that one or two ingredients to really go the extra distance for hyperpigmentation and inflammation. Or, it was just, I was always having to carry 10 lines to end up with 10 products for uneven skin tone, which was the primary concern of the majority of my clients, which, but so eventually I was like, this is crazy. I can't have all these accounts with a million different people just so I have a serum for dark spots for oily skin and a serum for dark spots for dry, sensitive skin. So I decided, that I was going to start making my own products. And actually the cleansing bars were the first products I ever started to make. Wow. And they are the hardest product to make because they are really a handmade product. And to mass produce this product has not been an easy task.
Okay, so talk me through that process. So you've gone from bricks and mortar, you're now making your own products. I guess, are you making stuff like in your kitchen? Do you have your friends and family helping?
No, I always contract manufacture. There was actually a woman, I had a consultant. I was smart enough to very quickly learn that to take my profit and use it towards hiring people to do things that I was not good at. And I hunted for some months for a consultant that knew how to do product manufacturing, labeling, design, all types of stuff. And this woman that I found ended up finding a very small contract manufacturer in Winston-Salem, which is about an hour and a half from Charlotte. And she would do small productions for me, because most of the time when you deal with contract manufacturing, you have to produce 10,000 or more units. Well, by the time I would sell 10,000 units, the product would be expired, so I had to find somebody that was willing to start with like 1,000 or 2,000. And that was hard to find, but this woman helped me find somebody actually relatively close. And unfortunately, we ended up outgrowing her capabilities as the brand got into retail and got into Target, but definitely would not be where I am today without, those people.
So how did you, so you started small, you had someone helping you. And I love the fact that you pointed out you were smart enough to realize that you basically outsource the work, the stuff that you're not good at, because you're smart and you can do, what your strengths are. So you outsource to people that could do the stuff that you couldn't do. Who was your Target? Was your first retailer? Is that right?
Yeah. So actually, one other really lucky thing that happened for me is for quite some time, we were only a e-commerce and a spa line. So we only sold it at my spa. And then because of these celebrities that were promoting my products on Instagram, people would contact us and say, oh my gosh, how do I buy this product? I'm in Nigeria, or I'm in Washington, or I'm wherever. And so we put together a website, and, to this day, 50% or more of my sales still come from my website. And brands are now desperate to really position themselves as a e-com brand or a DTC brand rather than retail. I mean, retail is amazing. People love to feel and touch things, but retailers, they require a lot. They take a huge amount of your margin. You have to do so much marketing to support it. You actually don't learn very much about your customer through them because there's no data that you learn about your customer, versus when you have a DTC brand, you aren't sharing your margin with anybody. You really get to know your customer's behavior. And when you learn who your customer is, it's a lot easier to grow and scale, because the things that work, you do more of, and the things that don't work, you do less of.
Can you explain to those of us that are completely not so knowledgeable when it comes to the lingo, what is a DTC
So direct to consumer. So it means that I have this website and I'm selling direct to my customer, versus at retail, at Target, I'm selling to Target and they are selling to my customer. So I don't learn the age of my customer. I don't learn at what point do they abandon their cart, there's so many things that you just don't learn. Retail is great. It definitely validates you to the public, like you're just some no-name brand on a DTC e-com website. People are like, oh, are they legit or not? If you're at Target, you're legit. Like people, but having a DTC brand these days are gold, especially look at the pandemic. I mean, retailers were closed. Ulta was closed for months. So brands are now scrambling to try to really build up their own direct to consumer business.
So what would be your advice as someone who, you've been doing this for how many years?
I started my medical spa in 2006, and I started Urban Skin RX, the skincare brand, in 2010. So I think basically about 15 years.
Wow. Okay. So what would your advice be to any kind of entrepreneur who is starting out, whether it be in the beauty industry or any kind of industry or a beverage industry? What would your advice be? Like, is it advisable to try and get something like a Target or a CVS or HSN or whatever, or just start with creating your website first of all and trying to use social media to get your product out there and then kind of see how that grows? What would you say?
Well, I have a couple pieces of advice, and I will start with your question first, which is 100% you have to generate your own demand in your own customer base. Target very rarely takes a brand that does not have sales. Barely any retailers take a brand that does not already have a demand in a customer base. And there's a big misconception out there with new entrepreneurs of consumer goods that they think that once your product sits on Target shelves, it sells itself. No, the retailer expects you to drive your customer base to Target to buy that product. So yeah, do not start a product thinking, oh, I'll just put it in retail right away. You know, you need to concentrate on building up your own direct to consumer business, your social media following. All those things were huge in terms of why and how I got into major retailers. But just to back it up a little bit slightly, before you went into the retail portion, I would say in terms of advice to entrepreneurs is you have to have immense passion for your purpose and your mission. And I think that some people just want to be an entrepreneur. They're just, you know, don't want to work for anybody. They want to be a business owner. They don't necessarily feel a specific passion towards any problem solution that needs to be filled. And that's where I get into, you know, franchises. I think franchises are amazing for people who want to work for themselves, but don't necessarily aren't the most creative or don't have a passion tied to a product or a service. But I think if you're somebody who wants to get into makeup or wants to get into skincare, if you do not have a personal tie to it, there is no way you are going to make it happen, because it takes that passion to make it through all the bumps in the road that you are going to hit day in and day out.
All the minutia, right?
Yes, so much.
Yes. Yeah. And it's very interesting because I think you find out a lot about yourself when you decide, okay, I don't want to work for someone else, or I'm a mother, I've been at home for, you know, with my children or whatever. Let me see if there's something I can get into that will give me, you know, a regular income, and, you know, I don't have to work for someone else. I think you're so right. Having the passion for whatever the product is the first thing, because then you don't abandon ship at the first sight of trouble, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Okay. So you being a young entrepreneur, I want to say the word.
Hardly not young anymore.
Hold on, but you started in your 20s, and I'm still not going to agree or accept that just because you're reaching 40 soon, that means you're not young. As a 48-year-old, I'm telling you, I'm young until I think I said 75 the other day. If I reach 75, then I'm going to be like, okay, I'm getting old now.
No, yeah, I refuse to waste my 40s and 50s and even 60s being like I'm old. You know, I keep telling myself that.
No. And especially when your skin, okay, so because the skin is one of the things I think a lot of people like me who are into makeup and skincare, whatever, the skin is the first thing that we look at. So looking at you with the skin as healthy as it is, and you said to me earlier on that is still something that you are still very self-conscious about. And it's interesting because you are actually proof to me that is that self-consciousness is something that is deep within, that comes from either, you know, your days of being bullied or whatever, or just like it's a psychological thing, because it's not what anyone else sees when they're looking at you. I'm still amazed that you even got blusher on in the 10 minutes, when I'm like, I have an hour, I have the music on, I'll have a cocktail, whatever else. 10 minutes, I don't know what I'll probably just stand there in front of the mirror panicking for 10 minutes, and now I'll waste the time. So, you know, that's a skill. But it's interesting how you say that you still have, you know, issues with the way that you see your skin and the way you kind of see yourself. So what is that about? So when you take off any makeup you're wearing on a day when you are in makeup, what do you see?
Oh God, we're gonna really go there.
Baby, I am all about talking about, I will talk about everything. I will give you access to everything, and I will ask the questions. You can always say,
no, it's just not something that I talk about publicly that much. And it's not because I don't want to, it's just not a common question that I get asked, but it's actually very important to, you know, who I am in my story. Is I suffer from severe issues with like my physical appearance, like severe, to the point, you know, definitely have pursued counseling at times. And because I'm smart enough to know like life is too short, and you know, just this is not what should absorb me. This is not what should be making me not, feel like the best version of myself. But it's something that I've never been able to overcome. I think that it's interesting. You would think if I felt this bad about myself, I would never be able to leave the house without makeup on. And I'm just definitely the type of person where I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm not going to like wake up 2 hours early to make myself look perfect so I can face the day. I would be like, F it. You know what I mean? But no, it's something, and I don't know if it's, the bullying that I went through or what it is, but I see myself a certain way. And as painful as it is, it also leads me to be really passionate about making things to help other people feel really good about themselves. But I would say every other day I'm like, oh, I need this plastic surgery, or I need to get this done. And then there's this voice in my head that's like, no, don't be that person. And so I fight it and I don't do it, but it's something that's very hard for me. And it's hard in my relationship also. Like, something that my boyfriend is more a holistic person. Like, he doesn't take Advil or anything like that. And he struggles with it. He's just like, I don't know why you feel like this about yourself. But it's a struggle. It's probably one of my biggest struggles in my life.
During those years when you were getting bullied, did anyone come to your aid? Did anyone come and save you, so to speak?
No, definitely not. No, I definitely felt in it by myself. And my mother, who is the most amazing mother, it's very interesting. She knew what I was going through. She didn't do anything about it. And with her being such an amazing mom, it's interesting. And especially now that I'm a mother, because I'm like a beast. Like, if somebody even looks at my daughter the wrong way, I'm like, Rachel, don't lose everything you've worked so hard for. Like, get it together. But it's interesting. She didn't. And I don't know if it was a different generation. I don't know if like the way she grew up, she felt like the right thing to do was let me figure it out on my own. But I felt very unprotected, I think, growing up. And I do think somebody should have intervened a little bit. But again, I look back on like where I'm at now, and it was like all part of this plan. And I do hate that I struggle every day with not, feeling beautiful like I should. But, I have so many amazing things in my life, and I do feel confident about a lot of things. I am very proud of the business I've built up, and I'm proud of the mother that I am. I'm proud of the fiance I am. I've overcame a lot in unhealthy relationships to, attract a healthy man, and so if the worst case scenario is I die never feeling beautiful, but I feel all these other things, then like, oh, well.
Can I point out something to you which I think is glaringly obvious to, I guess, someone like me? I'm an empath. I am very interested in people's stories, how they grew up, what their experiences were, how they got to where they are, no matter where that is. Do you know what I mean? What their life's journey has been. And you don't have to run an empire to have a successful life, of course not. But I love the fact that the strength that you have is innate, and whether you recognize your achievements, you recognize what you've done, and you're a great mother, your daughter is beautiful, your mother is beautiful, naturally. It's interesting how the things that have occurred in the past, and me asking you whether anyone came to rescue you, I kind of had a feeling that the answer was going to be no, because when you're, and I understand, I don't understand because it's not how I would do it, and it's clearly not how you would do it, but I've seen, and I'm actually married to someone whose mother was just like, you deal with it and it will make you stronger, or I'm giving you life lessons by sort of not handling it for you or whatever. It's a fine line, and you are the way that I would be. If anyone decides to look at any of my children the wrong way, earrings are coming off. I don't care. Don't even start. Your daughter certainly knows she's built with your strength. She's got your grit in you as well. So she's definitely going to be a huge part of you and sees what you're achieving, etc., etc. The part of you not seeing, I think, what your fiance, you're describing someone, I mean, look, he did a get down on the knee and propose to you, and and he's coming into your life, or has been in your life for however long. Your daughter, I'm guessing he's now taking her on as his child and whatever else, and you recognize the beauty in him and the fact that he is a clean living person who respects life, respects you, respects your family, and is beautiful and a beautiful soul. There's no way you cannot be a beautiful person, just the shallow, the physical, because he's a good looking guy as well, right?
He's super good looking. I look at him every day and I'm like, God, you're so fine. How did I get so lucky?
Well, that's it. So does he have bad taste then, like physical, like taste in women? Does he go for the...
So, I've only seen one ex-girlfriend of his, and she was on the cuter side. I've made sure not to like stalk and like see who the other girlfriends are, but I don't know, I hate it. And I don't want listeners to take it as like I'm vain or like poor me. It is just being transparent. It is something that I do struggle with every day. And I hate that I waste any brain space on like feeling uncomfortable about the skin in my physical appearance.
First and foremost, don't worry about what listeners or viewers are going to be thinking about you, because it's not about what they think. Do you know what I mean? It's about what you feel. And no matter how many people are going to look at you with or without makeup, in the pool, sunbathing, full face of makeup, in the beautiful mountains of Aspen, it doesn't matter. If you see yourself as a certain way, and you recognize that is a psychological thing, which obviously, and I know you said you've done some counseling or therapy. It's a gift to yourself, actually. If you are open to the idea of therapy, it's a gift to yourself to actually spend the time and the energy and the transparency part of yourself dealing with that, because it's something that doesn't need to be there, because it comes from way back when you had no control. There was nothing you could have done about that. You know what I mean? There was absolutely nothing you could have done about that.
But I think one thing that has not helped is the amount of time that I spend on social media and just media in general. And I always am curious to wonder if when, I sell my brand, which will one day happen, and I have no reason to be on social media for multiple hours a day, will I start to do a little bit better? Because social media, I mean, growing up for us, it was initially just like hardwick magazines, but
yes,
you weren't staring at a magazine all day long versus, our phones, it's constant. And obviously I'm a rational person. I know people have apps. I know that you Facetune this and you do that and you take 100 pictures to post one good one, but it still like leads you to think, oh my God, everybody's perfect looking. So it's hard.
It's interesting because you are the face of your brand, and why not?
Kind of, and that's been interesting. I'm somewhat the face because I'm the brains. I'm like the aesthetician, kind of like having a doctor, but I don't know if that will always continue like that forever. I might consider taking more of a backseat to like the CEO role and being less front and center.
It's not a bad idea, but the fact that you do look so good, so you can be the face of your brand. Do you know what I mean? You're not some wrinkly old guy or wrinkly old woman where it's like, okay, yeah, I don't know. People might not want to see that all the time, but yeah, if you are going to be so present on social media, looking gorgeous, obviously, and or your whole the whole feel of the brand is fun, it's beautiful, it's authentic, it's girly, you know what I mean? So anyone that's unhappy in their lives, they're going to find any reason to take shots because of jealousy. And that's basically what it is. Even someone, very recently, I don't know, you must have heard, Chrissy Teigen has decided to step away from Twitter, no more. And she's a fun person on social media, but she's like, yeah, no, I'm stepping back. This is not doing any good to my mental health.
No,
so
it's hard. And the trolls in the last 12 months have been out of control. People are miserable, rightfully so. People don't have places to let it out at. And so they go on social media and let it out. And it's, I have celebrity friends like Eva and Fantasia, and I'll vent to them and they look at me like I'm crazy because, they're so past that at this point. They're like, girl, just don't even read that stuff. But for me, especially just because a lot of times I've been targeted just as my intentions in terms of having a skincare line that's geared towards diverse skin tones, and the majority of my clientele and my consumer is not the same skin tone as me, the same ethnicity as me. And so oftentimes, I have been questioned about my intentions, my integrity in that area. And to me, that's being accused of being a, child molester. Everything I stand for is in terms of equality. And it's been really hard on me this year. But it is what it is.
Can you direct them to your bio or your something? Because I mean, that to me is, my gosh, the deep unhappiness in people's lives, or the jealousy. It's like, okay, the only person, you can only be brown skinned if you're going to be making skincare for brown, that includes brown skinned people or yellow people or whatever else. Really? Why is that the rule? And who the heck? You should be saying thank you for doing this, and let me learn what you've done, and let me learn how you've done it, and I'm interested in this field, so let me go and open my own brand or start my own brand. It's other people's unhappiness and inferiority complexes and sadness, because like you say, this past year, everyone is going through it. And if you have grown stronger, if your brand has grown stronger and been more visible in this last year, I don't know if you're a religious person, but I watch Joel Osteen every Sunday because we're not going to church anymore. And I'm just there was one particular Sunday he was talking about the fact that, the devil doesn't come for you unless he sees that there's a threat. So if you're growing in leaps and bounds and you're getting bigger and stronger and reaching more people and helping more people, that's when the devil's like, oh shit, I gotta get this girl.
I was in Mexico a couple weekends ago with a brand called Mael Organics. So I have a girlfriend who owns this brand. They're huge now. They're natural hair care. And she brought a pastor by the name of Heather Love. Have you ever heard of her?
No.
Follow her on Instagram. But mind you, I grew up Jewish. I'm not the most religious person. But
happy Passover.
Yeah. And I definitely am not the most religious person, but I'm a very spiritual person. I have a strong relationship with God. I talk to God every single day. I don't always get down on my knees, but in my mind, I'm talking to him 24/7. And so anyways, she's Christian, and on the Sunday portion of her retreat in Mexico, she brought out Heather Love, and God, it just touched me so much. She talked so much about praying for your enemies and hurt people and using that energy to really try to bring some solace into their life, and I have had a couple people who've really tried to tear me down and my business down, and I have struggled with, thinking all types of crazy thoughts about them, crazy thoughts. And, really it helped me so much. And I've been praying for some people that I think, some years ago, I could have never even imagined praying for them.
This is growth. Just for some transparency from me, I grew up with a father that was very physically abusive. I'm one of 5 siblings. My mother, who, passed away from stomach cancer in 2006, actually, but she, I witnessed a lot of the physical abuse that she suffered at the hands of this man that she loved. He was her first everything, very handsome, very well respected. The families are very well respected back in Nigeria, and you just look the wrong way. And the physical abuse was unbelievable. She left many times. He would find her, bring her back, promise this, promise that, whatever. It continued. My 3 older siblings, they were then away. We actually went back to live in Nigeria to go and join him. My 3 older siblings were then at boarding school. My younger sister was very young, so my mother kind of escaped in the night with my younger sister, came back to England. I was left with my dad, going to school. He was at the time the principal of a university, incredibly well respected, used to beat the living daylights out of me. And one day came for me with a machete, ready to take my life. It took me, I think I blocked out a ton of things. And at the age of 22, I think it was, or 21, my first year at drama school, they start doing all this emotional recall thing or whatever else, and everything started flooding back, and it was affecting my whole life. My 2 best girlfriends were like, listen, you need to find a way to forgive him. You need to maybe write him a letter, because you haven't yet been able to tell him how you feel about what he did to you, what he did to the family. You need to write a letter. My letter was like 6 or 10 pages long. I don't know. It took him forever to write back. I was expecting to get his response, open it up and hear violins and whatever. No remorse. I did what I had to do as a parent, blah, blah, blah. This is how we discipline, etc., etc. But I chose, the minute I wrote that letter and sent it, I had to let it go, and I had to let him go. I had to free myself. I'm not responsible for his sadness. He was hurt for whatever reason, potentially bipolar, I don't know. But I could no longer carry his baggage around in my life.
You were really able to achieve that at that moment?
Yeah. And it was, I wasn't expecting it. I didn't even know. I just knew I had to do something. The letter, and I didn't hold back. I put everything in there. And once I mailed it, I was done. And in fact, therapists, and I see a therapist now, she says, if there are things going on and you instead of saying certain things to people and hurting people that you love, write it down and then crumple it up and throw it away. I'm like, okay, I'll try that. I haven't quite done that, but I did a good walk and talk with her on the phone the other day, one morning, walking through my little town, screaming at her, crying. Wonderful. I came back in the house. I was like, I
love it.
I can breathe.
I love it.
It's you can't own the other people's strangers as well. Strangers on social media, they don't know you. They don't care about you. They want to let out their unhappiness. And why should you receive it?
I don't think it's the individual that bothers me. I think it's, the fear of something happening to my brand, because we do live in a day and age where people, it's like, what is it? Cancel culture. And people don't always do their homework. And, I have literally sacrificed so much for this brand that I do live in a state of just, I don't want to say paranoia, but a little bit just like that something's going to be the thing that takes me down. And in a way, it's a terrible state to live in. In another way, I think it's what fuels me and drives me to go so hard, and why I'm so successful is I'm like, I have a backup plan for every backup plan. But yeah, it's, people constantly aspire to be a founder, a CEO, and it comes with a lot. And I always say that I think people should aspire to be happy. They shouldn't aspire to be anything other than happy.
My guest on my episode that's currently running, she does these TEDx talks. She's a film director. She actually directed the movie Namaste Wahala. And she goes around, her talk is called The Pursuit of Happiness. And it's basically about us constantly looking for happiness outside of ourselves. If we just realize that happiness is actually within, it's right here. So stop looking for it elsewhere. It's in here. Focus on what's going on inside you and you will be happy. As for other people coming for you, I would say this: if you have any skeletons in your closet, get them out before other people find them and start airing them.
I don't have any skeletons in my closet that I'm not okay about people knowing about.
There you go. Then your product speaks for itself. And the more people like me who is like, hey, I love what you're doing. I think you're amazing. Because there are many people that obviously admire what you do that are not out there trying to bring you down.
It's definitely more people that are supporters than are not. Yes.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And the more people of all colors, even, I mean, I don't know if you're open to this, but I don't know how you feel about sort of, the LGBTQ community. I don't know if this is something that
we just learned the most amazing statistic that it's kind of embarrassing that we just learned this, considering, we're a pretty relatively sophisticated brand, is that almost 25% of our customers are men. And it's amazing considering, like, we don't speak to men. I wouldn't necessarily say we verbally speak to women. No, we probably do. But all of our imagery, I mean, guys aren't really talking about like calling each other glow getters and things like that. So it's really exciting. I can't really make it official, but we have some pretty amazing things happening for men relatively soon.
Your beautiful daughter, how old is she, first and foremost?
She's
9. Okay. And recently you got engaged. Is that right?
Yes, that is. That's crazy.
Are you ready to become wife? When is the date? Where are you getting married?
So we don't have a date yet. I'm a big international traveler, but believe it or not, I love Mexico. So Mexico's I love just the Mexican culture, food, people, everything about it. So we will get married in Mexico. Don't know the day, although Cinco de Mayo is the day we became a couple. So you never know, maybe it'll be Cinco de Mayo next year. But yeah, that's the most that I know.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a last question because it's Friday night and you're in North Carolina, which is what's the time difference there?
It is 7:43 here.
Okay, good. Yeah, same time difference. Okay, good. All right. So my last question, as a mompreneur who your brand is growing bigger and bigger and bigger, you're doing this, obviously you've got a team of people that help you with various aspects of it, but you are a mother and you're soon to be a wife. How are you balancing it all?
I'm not. No, definitely. I mean, there's times like we just went on a trip for her spring break, and I was very intentional about spending really good quality time with her. And like the weeks leading up into that, when I didn't feel like I was spending, the quality time that I would like to as a mom, I try to do what I can to make up for it. But it's hard, I think I'm hard on myself, but overall, I'm paying people to do homework with her and take her to her after school activities. And oftentimes what I kind of have left is in me when I get home from work is like, let's watch this TV show together. I'll lay in bed with her, as she goes to sleep. I mean, there's just moments where it's better than others. I am very intentional with every time I walk into the house after a day of work, I literally, whoever I'm speaking to on the phone, I'm like, I have to get off the phone before I walk into the house. And I, put my phone on the counter and I don't look at it for at least an hour. I make sure that when I walk in, she feels like it's about her. But quickly it becomes, it's back to my phone. It's back to, let me check more emails before, it's time to go to sleep. And I told her I was having this podcast. And so I said, Rosie, what do you love about me being a CEO? And what do you hate about me being a CEO? And she said, I don't like that you're always on your phone. And she said, what I love is that I love walking into your business. It makes me feel very proud, and it makes me feel like I'm the owner too, So, I think it's just, there's days where I'm killing it as a mom, and we go to the park and we do a jean jacket with, ironing on letters and jewels and stuff. And then there's like a week that goes by where I feel like I've spent 15 minutes with her a day, driving her to school, and that's all.
It's a constant juggling act, right?
Yes.
Which if, what you were saying earlier on, that you're thinking of kind of potentially pulling back a little bit now that you are growing so much, you're thinking of potentially pulling back a little bit, which, isn't a terrible idea, especially while she is so young. What is she into? What is she at the age of 9? I'm trying to think if my daughter kind of knew what she was into at 9. What is yours?
I would say prior to the pandemic, less digital screen time. She loves Roblox, which, kids love Roblox. And definitely I'm a mom that does control screen time, but if she could be on Roblox for hours a day, I actually just bought stock in Roblox because I'm like, this is insane. But no, she loves to ski. She's an amazing skier. She's been skiing since she was 4. She can ski down Black Diamond. She's in tennis. I took her to tennis lessons today. That was a great mom thing to do on a Friday. She loves to read. She will read for hours. She's reading the Land of Stories right now. She read she can read for hours, the most sophisticated book. She's an amazing child.
Very bright, very smart, and obviously sort of very gifted with sort of athletics as well, because I saw her skiing down the mountain, Aspen, right?
Mountain. No, she's incredible. Yeah.
Total final question, which someone like your mother or your mother's friends might ask: any more children in the plans?
So let me just tell you about that one. So my fiance is 6 years younger than me. So
Woo!
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm clapping loudly. I'm gonna click loudly.
So,
yes.
I'm 39, he's 33. And when we got together, I think because he knew I was older, he knew I had a child. He also knew that the experience I went through with her father was pretty traumatic. So he was like, I just want to be honest with you, it is a deal breaker, in terms of me wanting a child. Like, if you don't want another child, then like we can't continue with this relationship. And he was such a good guy, great chemistry, just literally everything I'd ever prayed for. And I was very much like on the fence about having another child. And so I was like, F it, Rachel, like, you got to have faith that it won't be the same experience. Like, you can do it. And so I committed to it, and I still do have a lot of anxiety about it. Actually, I was trying to talk to him about it last night, and he wasn't really trying to listen. And then he sent me a text today, and he was like, we can talk about it tonight, but it is something that I'm going to, keep my word and have faith in God that it is going to be a better experience, with a different guy. So yeah.
He's a better guy.
I know.
This is who the universe sent to you. I don't know why, what the reason was that you had to have that bad experience with the father, but look at the beauty, look at the angel that was given to you. Do you know what I mean? And now look what the universe has given to you in your fiance. So just know that I was 42 when I had my younger child, and it is doable. So
I'll probably be, if we get married next year, I'll be 40. I'll probably have another child about 41, and it's gonna be a beautiful thing. I hope I give him a son.
As long as the baby is healthy.
Yes.
Right. Also, there's adoption down the road if you wanted to.
Definitely. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to let you go. I have loved speaking to you. I'm so happy that you sat down and talked with me and was so open about so much. Your story, the fact that it's aspirational. Do you know what I mean? Like you're a human being with fears, with concerns, with aspirations, with ambition, with strength, with weakness. That makes you a whole human being, you know, which then makes people say, okay, if she can do it, maybe I can as well. You're not perfect. None of us are. But you have your flaws, you have your positives, you have your strengths, your weaknesses, and you're doing what you're doing. You're doing something that you love. And that is the most important thing, you know? So that to me is an aspiration.
I would love to interview you one day. Maybe when I retire, I'll have a podcast and I can flip the script.
Please do. I would listen to you and I would absolutely love to be a guest, be a friend.
No, we will definitely keep in touch, Loretta. I really appreciate everything. You're so sweet.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Go and refill that glass. Enjoy your Friday with your beautiful daughter. And thank you so much. I'm so appreciative.
Thank you so much. All right, take care.
Thank you again for tuning in to Living Out Loud with Loretta. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with a friend or several friends. Post a screenshot of this episode on your Instagram stories and tag me at Loretta Nakwacha. You can also watch this episode with a cold beverage on my YouTube channel. The link is posted below. Lastly, if you have the time, please leave a positive review on Apple Podcasts so that we can continue sharing stories, singing songs, and living our lives really